Secret boss fights in video games have to be one of the most exciting things since, well, the creation of video games themselves. I mean, the feeling of unlocking, or better yet, stumbling upon a secret foe, is a bit like opening presents on Christmas morning. Like knowing what you're getting for Christmas, knowing that a secret boss exists can fill players with anticipation and excitement. Similarly, not knowing a secret boss exists and then stumbling into their lair unexpectedly can be as exciting as getting a really rad present that you had no idea you were getting. And then of course, there are those secret bosses we encounter and within seconds instantly regret running into. Think of the Nameless King, that's just like Nope City. You know, socks on Christmas or something. Before we begin, be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays and click on the links in the description to vote on upcoming content. The surprise of encountering a secret boss outside of the main storyline, the need to hunt them down in ever-specific ways, often consuming a great amount of time and effort in the process, and of course the grueling challenge of locking up with an unforeseen, often overpowered bad guy, well, these are just a few aspects that make for a terrific secret boss fight. And they're all present in our top spot for the greatest of all time, Akuma. A fiery-haired shadow version of Ken and Ryu originally appeared as the ultimate boss in Street Fighter II Turbo after a flawless single-player campaign. Due to the mystique surrounding Akuma's identity and the incredible difficulty he presented to gamers, he has since become a huge fan favorite. But before we break down why this fight is so great, we'd first like to explore what makes secret boss fights so interesting to begin with. A key ingredient in some of the best secret boss fights is simply the process of finding them, aka the search. In Skyrim, there's an unmarked mission to battle the powerful ghost of a frost giant named Karstag. The only hint that this boss exists, if a hint at all, is that his skull can be found in the glacial cave, and there happens to be a castle named after the giant in the game. If gamers are alert enough to take Karstag's skull to the ruins beneath the castle and unite it with his bones, then the giant's ghost will be summoned and do battle. And he's gonna be kind of frosty that we're in his crib. For such a massive game, it's a pretty tall order to expect gamers to find and complete an unmarked mission. But the challenge in reaching this point is part of what makes it so memorable. Another interesting take on the secret boss formula is the surprise meeting. It's thrilling to find a new foe when you least expect it, and fighting games have a long history of providing memorable surprise encounters, as seen by our #1 pick. But take the Mortal Kombat series for an example. At the pit in Mortal Kombat 1, achieving a double flawless victory without blocking will transport players to the bottom of the pit to square off against Reptile. In Mortal Kombat 2, a 50-win streak in 2-player combat, 25 on Genesis, teleports the players to Goro's lair to face the Shadow Man himself, Noob Saibot. For a first-timer discovering these enemies accidentally, especially before the internet told everyone everything, the shock itself would be riveting. Then of course, there are the fights themselves. We couldn't forget that small detail now, could we? Often, some of the most memorable secret bosses are the hardest to beat, and that's no exception when it comes to From Software's hidden beasts. But where do we even start? Bloodborne? The Dark Lurker in Dark Souls 2? While equally terrifying, we think the sheer spectacle of the Nameless King still leaves us shaking in our boots. I mean, come on, he's riding a freaking dragon bird. The fight also takes place over 2 phases, where not only do we have to fight this fire-breathing monstrosity, but we somehow also have to defeat the lightning-chucking war god, too. Remind us why we like these games again? Oh right, it's because once you finally do beat him, it feels like winning the lottery. The reason why we chose Akuma as the greatest secret boss is because he combined all of the elements we've just described and more. He's both challenging to reach and fight. In a single-player campaign, gamers have to beat every opponent without using a continue and need 3 perfect wins along the way. This is all before you square off against him. He makes quite an entrance too, demonstrating his power right off the bat by knocking out M. Bison with 1 punch. Talk about first impressions. Once the fight actually starts, it's unmistakable to see that he's clearly an overpowered version of Ken and Ryu, and seasoned fighters will know that this means trouble. He can teleport, shoot a flaming Hadouken, and mid-air Hadouken on top of all the deadly moves in Ken and Ryu's arsenal. Akuma also definitely served as a huge surprise for gifted gamers in 1994, being the first secret boss in the Street Fighter series and one of the earliest examples in gaming itself. But what really makes Akuma stand out from all the other mentions here is that he goes on to become a fan favorite in the Street Fighter series and one of the biggest names in fighting games, period. He returns as a playable character in future installments, is included in animated Street Fighter movies, and is featured in crossover games like Marvel vs. Capcom 3. How popular are we talking here? Well, he most recently appeared in the updated Tekken 7 as the only guest included from the Street Fighter series. Whether it's intentionally seeking out a hidden bad guy to do battle with, or stumbling upon them unintentionally, the thrill of secret boss encounters are some of the finest moments in gaming. Akuma's a hard fella to reach and even harder to beat, but the feeling of finally delivering his comeuppance is truly special. As we like to say, difficulty is part of the charm, and Akuma has clearly charmed gamers for over 20 years, becoming a clear fan favorite in the process, as well as our pick for the greatest secret boss of all time.
So it's you.
Thanks for watching Mojo Plays. Be sure to subscribe and click on the link in the description below to check out our suggestion page and vote on what content you'd like to see us cover next.